After a thrilling stage to open the Lloyds Bank Tour of Britain women yesterday in Llandudno, stage 2 is the Wrexham stage, starting and finishing in the Welsh city in the north of the country. 140.1 kilometres of racing with over 1,370 metres of elevation. After 4.2 kilometres of neutralised, the race went through kilometre 0, and it was Francisca Koch of Team DSM Firmenich Postenel who immediately wanted to try and animate the race. Georgia Baker, the rider of Liverlula Jaker, was right onto the coattails, but in the end, the peloton were quite happy when they saw the 23-year-old German rider with a lead, nobody wanting to chase. Several kilometres passed and the gap started to open up, but then Team DSM Firmenich Postenel wanted to try and send Dani Hankeveld up the road with a select group to try and bridge across to her teammates. Francisca Koch got herself into her rhythm. She continued to open up a gap over the peloton. She still didn't have any breakaway companions, and behind it was the squad of SD Worx Pro Time with the leader of Kopecky, who was trying to control and patrol the front of the peloton. Heading towards the categorised 3 Queen of the Mountain of the day at Eaton Hill, Francisca Koch boasted a 3.5-minute advantage over the peloton. The German rider attacked with 120 kilometres to go, and reaching this point with 51.8 kilometres to go, she'd already been in the breakaway for a little over 70 kilometres. Approaching the base of the climb, she was well within her rhythm. Getting to the climb itself, the 1.4 kilometre climb of Eaton Hill at 3% average gradient, 4, 3, 2 and 1 points available towards the Queen of the Mountains competition, that being led by Lizzie Deignan in the blue jersey on the right-hand side. It was Francisca Koch who crested the top, and she mopped up the 4 points to add to her collection. She immediately took to some fuel and nutrition after a hard effort out solo. Heading into Johnstown in the one and only intermediate sprint of the day, Francisca Koch still had an advantage over the peloton, but was visibly starting to tire. SD Worx Pro Time in the purple jerseys on the left-hand side started to amass themselves, Hess Pro Cycling in the green and black likewise, and Francisca Koch had some great support at the roadside from all of the school children. She took the 4 points in the classification, as well as the 3 bonus seconds, which goes towards the overall general classification. She started to tire, she started to slow, and soon after the intermediate sprint in Johnstown, the peloton were just behind her. And before getting to the Category 1 climb of Horseshoe Pass, it was all going to come back together as all of the teams and the colours started to amass, preparing for this 4.2 kilometre climb. In the middle, in the yellow and orange jersey, it's Saint-Michel Mavic-Aubert 93 trying to protect Victoire Gilman and Marion Brunel. And into the base of the Horseshoe Pass, it's Elena Cecchini who took up the pacemaking, along with Tennille Campbell on the right-hand side. Due to the ferocious pace being set at the front, it left several riders starting to struggle, and the peloton was strung out and a large group started to be distanced, including Alice Wood, Krista Dobell-Hickok, a world-class climber, as well as Amy Gornall of Pro Noctis 200 Degrees. The Luxembourgish champion on the front in the red, white and blue jersey was setting the pace for their leader Lotte Kopecky, but right there was the blue jersey of Lizzie Deignan. Kopecky was looking calm and composed. It was one of the world's best sprinters, Lorena Wiebes, who was still there on one of the categorised 1 climbs. An incredible performance from the Dutch former European champion. Lotte Kopecky made her move, and the only rider to respond to that was Letizia Paternoster, her closest challenger on stage 1 into Llandudno. The 2 riders started to move clear, with the 2 French riders trying to bridge across, unable to do so. Henderson saw the danger, she bridged across, and the pace was all but too much for Paternoster. It was Kopecky who crested the top of the Horseshoe Pass, taking the 10 points and the 9 points going to Henderson. It was her compatriot Lizzie Deignan of the GB national team who took the 8 points to extend her lead in the Queen of the Mountains competition. Through 15 kilometres to go, the duo still had a strong advantage. They had great cohesion, they had great trust between each other, and the gap was 30 seconds for the duo. The chase was ferocious behind, the tailwind was roaring, and it was Liverlula Jaker who were trying to make amends after yesterday, trying to deliver their sprinter Letizia Paternoster a first victory of the season. Onto the wide open roads, it really favoured the chasing group of 20 behind, but the duo out front relented. Into the narrow run into the finish in the city of Wrexham, it was Kopecky who had the prime position. She had the lead, and Henderson had trouble to try and respond to the world champion. She put up a good fight, but in the end it was 2 from 2 for the world champion. A rainbow shone in Wrexham. It was Kopecky who was victorious. No photo finish needed today, and it was Weber's behind who was trying to mop up the bonus seconds. She had daylight to Paternoster, and it was the former European champion in purple who took the 3rd place. Paternoster in 4th, and the British road race champion Pfeiffer Georgie taking 5th. Lotte Kopecky edged out Anna Henderson for the victory in Wrexham. Lorena Wiebes led home the chase group 20 seconds behind to claim 3rd. Letizia Paternoster was 4th, Pfeiffer Georgie in 5th, and Sarah Roy took home 6th. Lotte Kopecky makes it 2 stage wins out of 2 in this year's tour. She also retains the red jersey as the leader of the sprint competition. Lizzie Deignan extends her advantage in the Queen of the Mountains classification. And the best young rider is Aline Janssen from the Netherlands, who currently lies 6th overall. And for the 2nd day running, the leader of the Lloyds Bank Tour of Britain Women is Lotte Kopecky. This is how the general classification looks after stage 2. Kopecky has a 17-second lead over Anna Henderson, with Letizia Paternoster 3rd at 34 seconds. Pfeiffer Georgie is just 4 seconds further back in 4th place, and Lizzie Deignan heads a group of 4 riders at 43 seconds.